Hello, Press.
Hey, Miss Lisa, how you doing?
I'm okay. Speaking of Miles, I heard you call him Mr. Miles when you guys was on the podcast the other day.
Did I? I don't
Yeah,
remember
you
doing
did.
that.
And he's 26 years old.
I
So
know.
I said he was 28 one day, and he got a little. I got him too close to 30. I insulted him.
Wow.
But yeah, I see you will throw a Miss or Mister on lots of different people out there.
Uh-huh.
So how are you this week?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm okay. Do you want to greet our viewers? Let's see who's tuning in today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to hit the like button on your way in, and do not forget to share us out if you can. We really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to us both. We do go live every week at 3 p.m. every Sunday at 3 p.m. for our Sunday Stock Talk conversation. Welcome in.
Yes, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Trell is saying good morning. I don't know where he's at. Still morning time for you, Trell?
Well, good morning to you. Good afternoon. It's afternoon here. It's like 3 p.m. He probably
And
just woke up.
Karen, if you're still here, I'm glad you're able to catch your first live.
Shout out to Karen Loud. Thank you for subbing to me. I
Okay,
see V's Peachy World. Hey V, welcome in. Thank you for tuning in.
was goody. Mm-hmm. I see you over there, Peachy. All right, Prez. So, do you want to chat about anything before we get started? How's the week going? How's your son? Is he ready for school? How's the school shopping?
He actually went back home to his mom last week. So I'm
Okay.
having a little bit of separation anxiety. That was my
Oh,
baby. She pushed him out, said, "Here, he yours." So
okay.
I'm having a little bit of separation anxiety, but I'll be all right.
All right. So he was with how was he with you for more than 2 weeks?
Yeah, he was with me about a month and a half.
Oh, okay. It's been a long time. Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize that. I know you had said he was going back 1 week, and then you were saying, "Oh no, he's going to stay at one more week." So I
yeah,
thought that was. I thought it was.
he pulled some strings, and I said, "You ready to go home to mom?" He like, "No, I talked to my mom, and I'm staying another week." I said, "Oh, okay."
Okay, I thought it was a
I
total of
kind of
like.
miss him behind me over my shoulder, watching the
Mhm,
screen though.
mhm. I remember one day we was live and I saw his little soda can just starting to inch into the set into the screen.
Yeah,
He was ready for the live to be over.
he actually was actually learning how to read a chart like right before he left.
Hmm.
Like I was showing him support and resistance. Like he was watching one of my morning shows, and I was explaining to him what I was doing as I was live actually, and he's looking on the screen and pointing at different stuff and saying little stuff in my ear. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. Thanks, Robert. I see you came over from your live. Um, and he's putting in some words that trigger things for Nightbot to
Hmm.
do certain things over there. So guys, Prez's channel link is in the chat now. If you're not subscribed to his channel, it's there for you. Um, so let's get started. The power of consistency in a volatile stock market. Let's talk about what gets people so intimidated and what issues and obstacles they have with staying consistent. What are your thoughts on this, Prez? What made you what leads you to these topics every week?
Okay, what led me to this topic? Um, just the week prior, we had a very down week in the market, whereas though it made news headlines, local news headlines, everybody was saying, afraid that the market was going to zero and things of that nature. But if you were consistent and you took advantage of the downtimes of this previous week, then you could have potentially capitalized on some great buying opportunities on some of these great companies and ETFs for that matter. Um, I know me personally, I was able to stay consistent. I wasn't afraid at all. I was welcoming the red and I was buying into the red because I know in my heart that I've properly allocated my portfolio and I know that consistency is key here. And I'm also forward looking just like the market is.
Yeah. So you said about the stock market going to zero. It's never, it's never going to zero. It's always going to recover, and it's not going to, you know, it's not going to be anything drastic. It could be something drastic. I shouldn't say that. But we have to see the big picture. It's not going to be a smooth line. It's not going to be, let me see. Where's one of my favorite images of the how the stock market moves? This one. Um, yeah, I'm not trying to paint you the picture that you put the money in and it's just going to increase. And next thing you're going to be 10%, 20%, 30% up. It's the bottom picture. We're going to have ups and downs, but in the long run, it's the best way that you can build wealth. So don't let the ups and downs intimidate you, and don't sell when things pull back. If you put your work in and you know that you invested into something that was a sound investment, then you got to stick with it sometimes until it recovers, especially when pretty much the entire stock market is down. So what are your thoughts, Press?
A lot of times what I notice is we already know who controls the media, and they will purposely put out these fear mongering headlines to get the inexperienced and the impatient investors to sell low instead of buying low. Meanwhile, you done sold out of your good position and they're waiting at the bottom with boatloads of cash to buy the dip. So you just became their exit liquidity.
Okay, okay. So guys, as you come in, don't forget to hit the like. So, all right. So we really have been having a huge pullback on the stock market, but at the same time, it already there was already a strong comeback of certain stocks and gains. Um, so, was there anything that you were able to, in your IRA or any of your accounts that you, or even that you called out to your community that was on a pullback and people were able to get in at a good price? I know Apple at 205, or what comes to your mind over the past week of some things that we should have been taking advantage of? Nvidia.
I was able to actually lower my cost average and my VTI position in the YouTube portfolio.
Mhm.
Everything else, well, I bought VTI all this weekend and across all of my portfolios. So I was just able to accumulate more in the others. And I was able to actually lower my cost average in the YouTube portfolio just a little bit, just slightly. I only caught one day where it was in the red, and the rest of the week, it just recovered back into positive territory. So I'm fortunate that, and I'm happy that I was able to capitalize on that one particular opportunity.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the week started off rocky with the markets reacting to the unemployment data and the threats of war and the political drama that will be going on for many more months to come. So, Japan's decision to raise interest rates is another layer of uncertainty. Let's see. Anything, did you read anything in specific to that?
Um, I believe it was they call it the carry trade. So while the rest of the world lowering interest rates, Japan
Hmm.
decides they want to raise interest rates, and it kind of offset the way the institutions trade against trade bonds, with between different countries and things of that nature. So a lot of institutional traders got smoked out of that whole ordeal, and it caused a domino effect in the market, in the regular stock market. So that's pretty much what I gathered just off of briefly reading over that. I really don't read too much into headlines and things of that nature because of I know their fear mongering tactics. I just will browse through to know what happened, and I keep it moving after that because I think so many years ahead when it comes to my investment choices.
Hmm. So Um, what's next? Staying consistent. So we say this every week that we have a plan and we stick to it, whether the market is up or down. We already know Prez has his pyramid structure. He knows what he has already done his research on and what he's going to add to his portfolio. So is there anything that that you've thought about cutting from your portfolio or adding to your portfolio, or everything is just solid?
Everything is solid. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I really would. I still wish I would have acquired Walmart when I had the chance to, but it's neither here nor there right now. Now, I say sometime in January, I'll reevaluate some of the companies that I have in the YouTube portfolio because that's
Mm-hmm.
where I want to add it at. And if it makes sense to cut something else and swap it out for Walmart, then I will probably do so. But other than that, I'm not looking to add anything new. I'm not looking to cut anything. Even my positions that are currently down significantly, like for example, Nike is concerned, I'm not going to cut that, although I'm down almost 20%. I'm just patiently waiting for the opportunity to present itself to where as though it makes sense for me to add more to that position and lower my cost average. But other than that, I'm sticking to the plan.
Same here. I'm not planning on cutting anything, and the things that are my headaches, they're small positions, and I'm just gonna hold on to them for now. But yeah, if we could go back in time with some Walmart instead of Target, and Disney instead of Costco instead of Disney, there are some slight changes, but it
Hmm.
is what it is. But the larger positions for me definitely are not giving me any grief. The Google and the Amazon and Apple, and those ones have been solid. Never, because I built into them for the last few years. So even if it does come down, 4%, 6%, I don't even really see it until I go over to that column on the day. Um, so
Me personally, I'm hoping that we get a little a slight pullback this week because I will be working on level 2 of my pyramid, and I would love to lower my cost average on some of those positions. As of right now, I have one that's currently red, and that's Microsoft. So
mhm.
hopefully it stays red till about Wednesday when I will be making my Microsoft purchase. Other than that, like nothing's changed. I don't see anything changing anytime soon. It's not always good to be fickle when it comes to your investments because if you were to be jumping in and out of positions, you have potential tax implications and you could be missing out on potential gains later on down the line. Imagine you get rid of, for example, you get rid of Tesla and your cost average was 228 or something like that, and it drops down to 180, but you sold it, and then 2 weeks later you said it's $300. Now you kicking yourself in the foot, like, man, I should have just held on to it a little while longer. I should have bought it when it was at 180, versus you jumping in and out of supposed to be long-term investments, but you're holding on to them for only a few months or a year. So
Mhm. Yeah, I think in 2023, the only position that I sold out completely out of my portfolio in a way, like you're describing, is my JetBlue. But yeah, it's very very rare. There hasn't been, we're 8 months in so already, and I haven't really done anything like that this year. As far as like Ford, that was a very small position. There's been nothing significant that I've cut from the portfolio. Um, Neo,
shout out
hey
to
Neo.
Neo.
I was watching one of Neo's videos. I can't
Me
remember.
too.
Yeah.
I watched one of his the other night, I believe.
All right, Prez. So let me talk. Let's see. Market sensitivity. So is there anything that, we could share that you've noticed that the viewers might not realize impact the stock market the way that it does?
Mm,
Anything cross your mind?
Anything in particular? Let's see. Any data
Well,
that's economic related
mhm.
can impact the stock market. So we can get good unemployment data and the market will rally in these current times, or we can get bad employment data and the market could potentially tank because that shows signs of recession. So as though all of these corporations are laying off so many workers and things of that nature. So that can cause unemployment to uptick and it can lead into fears of a recession when it comes to what the Federal Reserve Chairman is going to do because he's had interest rates so high for so long. And now you have the experts coming in saying, well, we need an emergency cut. We got unemployment ticking up. We need an emergency cut. I kind of sort of disagree with that because if you look historically, the unemployment rate is a lot higher than where it is right now, even during recessionary times. So like I said, a lot of these news headlines be scare tactics to scare the rookie investors, the impatient investors out of their positions at lower than what they paid for.
And what? And give the millionaires a chance to make more millions?
Right, right, right.
Um, so I when I first started my channel over a year and a half ago, I was saying that recessions make millionaires, and
Hmm.
they're gonna, people with the knowledge are gonna scoop in and buy their investments at pennies on the dollar and wait for them to ride back up. I cannot believe that still, all these months later, we still technically are not in a recession. But the concept is definitely there. And I wanted to make sure that I was as prepared as possible for when times like this rolled around so that I can be focused on building up my investments. So we have a question here about long-term Bitcoin versus the S&P. For me, I'm much more heavily into the S&P than crypto, but that's my personal preference because of the volatility. But I do both. What are your feelings on this, press?
I do both as well, but I would lean more towards the S&P versus Bitcoin any day because Bitcoin is still a speculative asset. Although we kind of sort of understand what it does and the use case and everything about Bitcoin, I still would trust the S&P 500 a lot more in the long term versus Bitcoin. Although Bitcoin has been performing exceptionally better than the S&P, but it's not about who's better. It's more about long-term stability at the end of the day. The S&P has individual companies to where as though they have actual earnings reports and things of that nature. They announced their partnership deals with other corporations and all of that good stuff. So the only thing we have is on Bitcoin is just speculation and price action and charts and things of that nature. So I would trust my wealth more in the long term with the S&P 500 because it's been around for over 100 years, if I'm not mistaken, versus Bitcoin has only been around for a few years.
Yeah, but like I said, it's my personal preference. I'm not doing 50-50. I'm much more heavily into uh, a VCI or a VOO. I built up I think I added 10 shares last week of FXAIX
Hmm.
in my IRA. So those are I definitely lean more heavily into the S&P 500 investments for the long term. But at the same time, yeah, when Bitcoin, what does Bitcoin dip down to? I think between 56, 57.
I
I
believe it dropped down to about 49.
40, well, I didn't catch 49, but
Yeah, it dropped
one,
down to about 49. I didn't catch it either. I had already made my purchase at about 57. And
yeah,
right after I did it, it
it dipped
dropped.
some
I
more.
was like,
Yeah.
wow. I was like, wow. I could
So
have easily bought more, but it wasn't in my budget. I only do a certain amount every week. So although it dipped down, I don't want to be over allocated into Bitcoin. Like I'm 95% stocks and 5% in the crypto. And I keep it that way. I don't want one asset, especially a speculative asset, pulling down my wealth
Mm-hmm.
more than the overall market could do.
Yes, yes. All right. So, any other questions? Definitely agree with the scare tactic. Yeah, I put that up already. Um, so let's talk about the power of compound interest when it comes to investing. Uh, do you ever like, is that something you've ever done with your son, like use the investment calculator, or is he not at the age for that yet?
Yes, I've
He,
shown it to him. He
yeah.
knows about it.
Uh-huh.
He knows
So
about it.
does he get the concept of the difference between, like, I tried to talk to my daughter about, this is what happens at if you put your money at Bank of America, this is what happens you put your money at Discover, this is the money in a CD, this is the money invested, so that she can definitely see a clear picture of what it's doing in each bucket, and also realize that we need to have money in each of them, but we have to decide and know we're not going to have the majority of our money sitting at Bank of America not growing. We're going to have our money in places where it's growing as much as possible at the best rate possible. So at his age, he's 8 years old, right?
9.
9 years old. Okay. So how is it going with trying to teach him these concepts, or how does he handle it?
Well, it's pretty easy because he excels in math.
Hmm.
So me saying numbers and showing him charts and stuff like that, he's really interested in it. So because he understands math so well. Like I remember he was in the second grade and they had him tutoring the fourth graders. I remember they sent me a message, and when I went to pick him up from school, they told me he was in there tutoring the fourth grade students in math. So now, as far as banks and stuff like that, I haven't gotten that far explaining that part, that aspect to them just yet. But I have shown them the investment calculator. I'm like, if you was to invest this amount after this many amount of years, this is how much you would have, as a general idea. And he's pretty much he's all for it. He's interested. He's all for it.
Okay. Okay. So Neo saying, are we, what are we doing at the moment with the dip? So Prez keeps to his structure. Anything else you want to share on that?
No, I
No.
stick to the plan. Now,
So
if
like,
that plan was to ever change, like say for example, we've been down for like 2, 3 weeks in the market or something like that, I may just reevaluate. Like, can I come up with, instead of doing 25 a week, can I afford to do 50 a week? If I can afford that in my budget, then I will, let everybody know in my audience that this is what I'm doing, and I'm gonna do this for this many amount of weeks until I'm not able to afford it no more, or something like that, but it hasn't gotten to that point just yet. I don't want to start doubling down and we turn around and bounce in the market and continue the bull run. Now, if we were actually in a bear market, then I don't know, I would be trying to find as much cash as I possibly can so I can invest as much as I possibly can.
yes, I'm going through some changes with trying to figure out my budget right now. But if I knew that I was, I want to take advantage. I encourage everyone, if you are solid um with your emergency savings and stability with your job, take this as an opportunity to really firm up your investment accounts and go as hard as you can. That is my personal encouragement.
Yeah, I wish I could double down. A lot of times I wish I could double down, but I know my budget and I don't want to be investing too much, and I know I still have debt that's still hanging over my head that I've been slowly chipping away at, and I
Mhm.
still have personal expenses. I still have children to take care of and things of that nature. We got back to school and school supplies, and although I only have one child that's left in school, my middle child already graduated, so I only have one that's in school now, but it's still school supplies and uniforms and things of that nature. And his uniform shirts can only come from the school. It's not like I can go on Temu or something like that. Not that I would, but it's It's not like I can go on Amazon or something and buy school shirts. I have to get them with the school emblem and all of that on it.
Yes, yes. Yeah, my daughter had a uniform like that at one time too. Yeah, that's a pain. That is a pain, but I guess that's the only way that the school gets true consistency so that they all, look the same. Because a pair of khakis is not the same if everybody
Nope.
just goes to the store and just gets khakis. Um, so thank you everyone for tuning in. Um, so yeah, the investment calculator. I think that everyone, if you haven't already, you should try just playing around with it and putting some numbers in there and really seeing if you can figure out how to achieve your goal. And if you don't have a goal, create one. And you don't have to overwhelm yourself. Start with small goals and just keep building on it, but you can really achieve great things, and it might give you a way of seeing how, if you do have a desire to get to 100,000 or even $1 million, how you can actually achieve that. So I know, me personally, I was just, as far as my 401k, I wasn't even watching it that closely to know when I was hitting certain milestones of, oh, I got to, 75, 100. I wasn't even, I was just going to work, and it was, the money was invested, but I wasn't watching it in that way. So the cost
I
average.
so wish I would have taken advantage of my company match, the different jobs I done had. I so wish I was taking advantage of those tools that were available to me that I cared nothing about at the time. The only thing that I cared about was when do I get paid and how much am I gonna have left over once I take care of all my bills, so I can go out and try to impress people that I don't even like. And that was the mindset that I had majority of my life into midway into my 30s, early 40s. So if your employer has those options for you, I encourage everyone to take advantage of it. Don't do like I did and just worry about how much am I getting paid and when do I get paid and what I'm going to do when I get my check. You should be planning. Well, what I'm doing now is planning everything out. Like, how can I maximize what I've already made? How can I keep more about what I've already made? And how can I eliminate some of this debt that I've accumulated throughout my years of messing up my life, basically?
Hmm. Hmm. And once you start to build up that retirement account, let it remain for retirement. Don't be eyeing it as it builds and say, oh, I need a down payment for a car, or the furnace broke down, or whatever issue. Let me get in contact with them and see if I could pull out a few thousand. Cause yeah, you're really gonna set yourself back.
I'm not even gonna lie. I be hearing this voice in my head sometimes, like, just cash it out. Just cash it out and pay everything off. Just cash it out. Don't do it. Don't do it. You got to tell yourself the devil is a lie because you're going to end up regretting it in the long run. Trust me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially in the peak of a bull market and you looking at your portfolio like, wow, you just get that voice in your head like, just cash it out. Just cash it out and go party. Like, nah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've never tapped into it, but I've said this before. Like, I think that for so many people, it's the largest amount of money that they start to accumulate. And then when something happens, they want to go straight to it. And for some, for some people, like in getting into real estate or something, they did pull out money. I have heard stories of people pulling out money and putting it into an asset that gain them more. But a lot of times it's just to get themselves out of bill, to work on a bill or an issue that came up, and it didn't do anything to gain them any more wealth. So what are you grinning about over there, Press?
Oh, I was reading what Lily said. I was eyeing mine for a while, but I fought the urge and haven't touched it. Sometimes you do get that voice in your head, especially when you're new and you've been investing for a little while, and you start seeing how compound interest is working with your small portfolio, and you're like,
Mhm.
wow, I should just cash this out and just go treat myself or do something like don't do it. Just don't do it.
So I was looking at this image just to further kind of give you an example of what I'm saying here. So this is investing $50 weekly, and this is at a very modest rate of return of 7%, which right now, the average rate of the return of the stock of the S&P or of the stock market over the last 100 years is at least 10%. So this is really a conservative saying 7.
Hmm.
If you start at 25 years old, investing $50 a week, you can get to nearly $600,000 by the time you're 67 years old. But wait 10 years and invest the same $50 per week, and you're only going to get to about $285,000. So just start as early and as soon as possible. And don't think I can keep putting it off for year after year, because compound interest and time, it's really on your side the earlier you get started with just getting on track with investing. And really, Prez always says, you got to pay yourself first. And I think what we do is we spend all the money, and then Nightbot just dropped what I'm thinking here. Don't save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving. So prioritize yourself and make investing and making sure you have your emergency funds, all of those things, an actual thing that you have to be consistent with. We always going to pay our rent or our mortgage and our phone bill. Those are fixed things that we feel that we have to do. But what about investing? What about life insurance? What about if you had to take a lot of money out of your savings because you had an issue, the car broke down, or you needed to replace 2 tires, or whatever happens, are we replenishing the savings so that next time something comes up, we're still able to do that again and not run ourselves into debt? So Buffett's the GOAT. Yes.
Personally, that was my issue for a number of years. Like I would go into savings and not replenish it, and that's not a good idea, because then what if you have another emergency? Now you have to potentially look at your crypto portfolio, or you got to look at your one of your smaller portfolios now, because life didn't happen, and now you got to sell something. And what if the market is doing a downturn? Now you just basically threw money away that you worked so hard for and you watch grow. And because the market is down and you need that money, now you got to dip into it and potentially liquidate a portfolio because life didn't happen or something like that. I'm victim of that as well. So it's always
Mhm.
good to replenish your emergency savings if you can, as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been there too, and that's where the lingering credit card debt and then the mounting interests come into place. So I've definitely learned my lesson, and had to dig my way out of that, and that's why I try to make sure that I can. Sometimes I use my credit cards for everything in order to take advantage of the points and the rewards, but at the same time, I want to, when those things come up, those extra things, like I'm saying, you need something repaired or some larger issue than your regular paycheck can handle. I want to make sure that I can put it on the credit card, and before that cycle hits, find some money, pull some money out of savings and get that paid.
I invest and then have to sell because I'm broke.
Okay.
Best
Teaching.
thing I could say about that is try really hard to at least build up a emergency savings, so that
Okay.
when that time does come where as though you need the money, you won't have to dip into your investments. If you're not able to put together an emergency savings account, then I don't know what else to say as far as doing that. I just try to When I've been in that situation, I just try my best at all costs. Do not sell your stocks. Try to
Hmm.
find another
Hmm.
way. Call up someone and try to borrow some money or what have
Yeah.
you, or try to get someone to give you the money that you need, so you won't have that debt of paying someone back. So you try to make it through that tough time.
Yeah. But yeah, Peachy's saying that she gotta make more money in order to get more into investing. So I know she's prioritizing, um, the side hustle, bringing the extra income. But
Hmm.
yeah, we I want this to be a place where we can talk about anything, and we're not all at the stage of investing. So I definitely like to share or throw in the building up the emergency funds, even if it's getting your first one paycheck into a savings account, because we're all at different stages here. And if you're at that stage of, being at pretty much paycheck to paycheck, um, I want you to get encouragement with that too, because I just want to see you really try to tighten up your budget, squeeze out whatever you can, and get to the point where you have exactly one paycheck in savings, so that when things happen, I know you're going to have to tap into it, but just keep building from there. But I want to see everyone at least have that as their first goal. I know some, like Ramsey, he usually says like get to the point where you have like your first goal is to have $1,000. I don't know what $1,000 ties to in different people's their expenses and stuff like that. But I think it's good to have that first one paycheck put aside. What do you think, Press?
Yes, definitely. I was one of the ones that started when I started out. I had debt. I didn't really have much saved, and I felt as though I could push through it. And then life started happening. I had to setback, minor setbacks of liquidating portfolios or things of that nature to try to make ends meet. And it's like when life happens, it's like an avalanche or a snowball effect. It's like one thing happened, your car breaks down, then you don't have reliable transportation to get back and forth to your 9 to 5, and now you have to change jobs. And what if you get sick and things of that nature? Um, my what I would say to that is, instead of investing, try a $5 a day savings challenge where you're putting that money into high yield savings account like your Discover or your Ally or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
until you get a nice amount built up in emergency savings, to where as though you won't even be thinking about looking at your $5 a day stock investment account once you make it to that point. Start small, take baby steps. $5 a day is not much. I'm sure it's something that you can sacrifice throughout your day-to-day spending habits, to where as though you can afford $5 a day, to where as though you're not touching it unless you really, really have to. So it's always a way, it's always a plan.
Okay. Budget. Do you think you can budget your way out of poverty?
Wow, that's a good question.
That's a deep question.
Yeah, it is.
I th- I I think you can. I think you can. I really, I know Peachy wants to talk about like my upbringing and stuff with me. We be talking about things during her lives and offline sometimes, but I I mean, I really think that you have to find a way and prioritize how are you going to make this plan. And I know everyone's path is not the same. Everyone is not going to go to college and work in a corporate office and do whatever. Some people are going to, I don't care what it is. I just love to see people get a skill, a higher skill than just high school, hopefully. Um, I don't care if you're a plumber. I don't care if you're, a mechanic, you run a salon. I just want you to gain a little bit more knowledge of business and know how to handle whatever it is that you are trying to do, so that you can be in a place where you are advancing your career and gaining as much money towards your goals and caring for yourself, caring for your family. So whatever the skill is, I just think you need to just work on maximizing it so that you can have that plan to get yourself out of poverty. And with that, you have to be frugal. You have to have a good money mindset of, I'm not going to always be upgrading the car and prioritizing those material things, and then, get to the point where maybe you can buy a two-family home, rent out a unit, or just find a way to get yourself in a better place. And I know it's hard. I know it's what I'm saying. It's not something that's easy, especially in the economy that we're living in. But I think that you just really have to focus on working it on the big picture, and it can happen. What do you think, Press? Am I rambling on?
I would say no. It would take more than just budgeting. You would also have to try to create other streams of income as well as budgeting and investing, and learn to trade. Learn to trade, because that could potentially save your life financially if you learn how to trade and trade responsibly. And people say, well, what, how can I come up with the money for a trading account? That comes into play with budgeting and creating another stream of income, if you can possibly do so. I take that back. You can create another stream of income. I'm sure it's something, some sort of skill or hobby or craft or something like that, the way you can come up with another stream of income. um, don't discredit yourself and look down on yourself. You have to get those creative juices flowing and come up with some sort of other stream of income, some sort of side hustle or something. But it's going to take that along with budgeting and investing and things of that nature to get your way out of poverty.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying is you have to, whatever it is, just keep on tapping into it and building on it. Like I was saying, gosh, I cannot, my mind is going a blank about that wallet. What's his first name? Are you muted? Well, I was on about the
Yeah, I don't
wallet.
know his first name.
I was on about the wallet podcast this week, guys. On Tuesday, I'm going to share that. So, Anthony, I'm so sorry, Anthony. um, and he asked me what was my worst financial mistake. Well, I'm giving you a little piece of the interview, but this is one of my favorite pieces, favorite questions. And he said I gave an answer that he never heard before, and it was not prioritizing, focusing on my education, because that was something that allowed me to make more money. And what I did was, by not finishing college, I set myself up for a decade of struggle, because I didn't graduate till I was like nearly 30, where I should have been much further in my education by the time I was like 21, 22. So that's all I'm trying to say is, our young people, as soon as they get out of high school, just continue to find a path of what you want to do, and just build upon it as soon as possible, because without that, you're going to be in a place where your earnings are not what they should be. So what do you think your son will wind up doing when he gets older? I know he's very young now. Does he ever say he wants to be a certain, what does he have a dream of doing something when he gets older?
It changes. It
It
changes.
changes.
Like one day he'll say this, and the next month he'll say something different. He's really undecided right now, but I do know that he's very enthusiastic about what I do. So he watches me a lot. That's like mini me. I'm like Dr. Evil, and that's mini me. But I just wanted to throw an idea out there, something that I did when times were really tough, to where as though I wanted to make sure that I was still able to invest regularly. I was donating plasma just so I can have that extra money to regularly invest, so I couldn't miss a week. I couldn't miss a week of doing my $5 a day. I couldn't miss a week of doing my $50 a day. So
Hmm.
that's just an idea that maybe no one else would agree with it, but that's just an idea, some way you can. Yeah, yeah. I was doing that just so I can make sure that I invest regularly, because times was hard financially. I was in between jobs at the time. I had just lost my car. I was going through a lot financially, but I made it work. Like, it's no excuse. And it's, that's I'm living proof. It's no excuse. That's why I
Yeah.
always preach that, because you would be surprised at the things that I've done just to make sure that I can keep up with my investing regularly, because I've seen with my own two eyes the power of compound interest with other people's stories. I've seen it with my own self, with just my little small portfolios that I manage. And I already know in my heart that the possibility is endless. All you have to do is just stay consistent.
Hmm. I don't
He
have
said,
any.
"Wow, donating plasma." Yeah, I did that. I
I
did
don't
that.
have an example like that, but
I did
we
that.
I definitely been through those those lean years, and those times when you had to go and go and change every bottle that you can find around the house, and go to the change machine at the front of the supermarket and just trying to scrape up every last bit of anything that you can find around the house.
I
And
call it
then
doing something strange for a little piece of change.
and sometimes I'm glad that my older daughter, now that she doesn't know any of the struggles, but at the same time sometimes I wish she knew those days, because I feel like she doesn't have an appreciation for certain things. But I'm glad that she never had to live through certain things, but at the same time I wish I could kind of just like throw her back in time for a few hours and bring her back, because she doesn't know what it's like not to live in this particular house that I'm sitting in right now. And she doesn't know a life without a washer and a dryer, a dishwasher, a car, like
The internet.
oh my god, her own room, a room and a TV. This is the norm for her. And like she doesn't I used to have to when I didn't have a car, we would I would have to either walk or take the bus to the supermarket. But I would always make sure to have money for a cab home, because I would try to food shop a lot, because I wanted to, maximize the trip. And plus I couldn't physically carry my daughter and the groceries. So, it's like those days I didn't have a washer and a dryer, so I would have to pack the clothes into like a rolling kind of a luggage thing,
Yeah.
walk to the laundromat. Like, she doesn't have
Hmm.
to do these things.
Unless you had a house with radiators and you just put your wet clothes on the radiators.
Well, then I would have to hand wash them. I wasn't doing that very often, um but yeah, I'm glad that she doesn't know all of those struggles. But yeah. So Prez, have I messed up your topic of the day?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because it all ties into staying consistent at the end of the day. It all ties in together. Like, you can go anywhere with this conversation, but it always ties into consistency is key. Even when the market is doing bad, you still remain consistent.
Mhm.
And I'm living proof with my little story I just told. Like, at the time when I was doing that, the market was down. The market was actually doing bad at the time when I was going donating plasma twice a week. Make sure I get my couple bucks so I can make my deposit on Friday so I can continuously invest. And it's paying off at the end of the day in the long run. Especially like I was doing it when I first started out the YouTube portfolio. Like, I was donating plasma as well as taking portions of my paycheck at the time and making sure that I can invest regularly, because I started it. I said I want to see it through. Like, I've
Mhm.
started that YouTube portfolio on a previous channel when life happened and I had to liquidate it. And I wish I didn't. Looking back on it in hindsight, I would have been almost 2 years in, to where as
Yeah.
though now I got to start all over, and I don't want anybody to have to go through that. So whatever you got to do, make investing a priority. The same way you make your phone bill a priority, the same way you make your utility bill a priority, investing should also be a priority at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Because once you're too old to work and things of that nature, your investments are what you have to fall back on, especially if you didn't work your entire adult life like me. I was in between jobs. I done prison time. I was in the street. I was doing things like that. So as far as me getting to retirement age and looking at Social Security, they're gonna be like, man, we ain't got nothing for you, brother. What you
Mhm.
been doing all your life? So I'm really, really hell bent on getting my own and retirement accounts built up to where as though I don't want to work till I die. I don't want to work till I'm 60, 70, 80 years old. I don't want to have to retire and then go back into the workforce as a part-time cashier. It might not be no part-time cashier jobs left at that age, at that point, because of artificial intelligence and self-checkout and things of that nature. Soon you're gonna go
Yeah.
into a store and you won't even see a cashier. You won't even
Mhm.
see a security guard. You probably won't even have a store manager there. You'll just have somebody up in the booth pushing buttons, making sure everything runs smooth, troubleshooting. He said too old
Much
to work, be a voice actor or read audiobooks.
Men make the world go round. You. What do you think of Charles' comment here?
I don't think so. I think it's women. I think it's women. I really do.
Um, I want to just I a little while ago I saw Peachy said she had a lot to say, but she didn't want to type it all. If you're still here,
Say,
Peachy, I can after we're done here, if you want me to set up another live, I can we could chat more. I'll put the StreamYard link um for you to come up, but just let me know if you're still here. So someone's putting a comment here. Has anyone set up a Roth IRA for kids? For a
I
Roth
personally
IRA,
have.
if I recall, for a Roth IRA, I think the child has to have earned income for that type of account. So I do have my daughter does have accounts, but my because she does not have earned income, I usually talk about a 529 plan or a UTMA or UGMA account for her. If the child does have earned income, I'm not sure how old of a child you're referring to. Then there are IRAs that they can have, but you can get in touch with a broker like Fidelity about that. That's the one that I think Prez and I both happen to use. But for right now, my daughter does have investments in her name, but I chose to do it in a UTMA account because I didn't necessarily want them tied to education expenses. And um, and she was below the age where she was earning money herself. So um, that was the option that I've decided to go with. So Neo said he uses UGMA. I use UTMA. Very similar. It's Uniform Transfers to Minor Act. This is a Uniform Gift to Minors Act.
Charles said I'm simping. No, I'm not. I'm not simping at all. The reason why I say that is because women have the power to either soften a man's heart or harden a man's heart. So imagine if you it's this guy down the street and he's just being a you know what, and you don't really want to do anything to him. You want to keep the peace, but you got that girlfriend that's in your ear, like, you know, he did this, he said that, and all she has to do is say, he touched me. You right down the street, and you're gonna beat that guy up. Am I lying? So, who caused that? The woman. She has the power to soften your heart or harden your heart. Believe it.
I missed the start of what you were saying. I was distracted, so I had to play that little piece back and find
It,
out
it
what was
goes
going
it
on there
goes
because I
back to where someone made the comment. I can't remember who exactly it was. They said men make the world go round. I said I disagree. I believe it's
yeah, no,
women.
it's Charles, it's Charles, our friend Charles. But he meant trade. He's oh, you saw this comment too?
No, I didn't. He's
Oh,
yeah. I saw that. I saw this part where
oh,
he said stop simping. No, it
okay.
wasn't that I was simping. It's just for that fact right there. Like a woman can soften your heart or she can harden your heart. She can make you say yes. She can make you say no just
Mhm.
by what she's saying in your ear. I'm just trying to pull
I've been looking for a channel.
that.
What? Why are you laughing?
He said he said who look like you? Oh, okay. I thought he said you look like you really look like you. I read it wrong.
Well, Courtney, I'm glad that people that look like you are doing this. We are doing this, and I'm glad that we're here to support you on your journey. Um, Selena, is that how you say it? Selena Anderson, is that how you pronounce that?
It looks like it. I hope so.
If I'm mispronouncing that, please excuse me. How did you discover our live? Please let me know. So I don't think I ever saw your name before. Any other questions that we missed?
Let me see.
They got self checkout at the dollar store. Yes, everywhere.
Yeah, they
I
do. At
hate.
certain ones, they
I
do.
I hate self checkout. I hate so you know where I hate self. I hate it everywhere. I hate it everywhere. But the supermarket is the worst when you got like a pepper and an onion and tangerines, and you got to put the code number in for the to.
Hit the search bar. You gotta Google it.
So I've intent. So it seems like there's a supermarket near to my house. If you get there too early or too late, there's no registers for you to go to. You have to do the self checker. So I
Wow.
can't. I got to make sure I go at least an hour before, or you know what I'm saying, an hour into the day or an hour before they close to make sure that I can have a real person. They don't bag the stuff. They don't bag it up for you. They just put
No,
it. So I mean, at least can you ring the stuff for me? I already went to. No, I'm sorry.
I had one handing me the bag. She
Oh,
handed me the bag. I looked at her like, huh?
oh, that's Courtney. I
I
was
was
searching for
watching the old
dividends.
live of Russ, and he featured a comment of yours, and I said you did investing content as well. Yeah, we out here. We out here, Courtney. We out here.
Yes, yes. I like Russ's channel. He has so much, he has such good energy
Hmm.
with his stuff. Um, so Prez, I'm like Prez, okay, let me see. I don't know how I'm doing
it
with my topic of the
is. It is.
day.
It is okay. It is what it is. At the end of the day.
You have to keep me on track when I'm having my days where I'm scatterbrained nest. I told you this.
I see a question. How do you know when to get into a stock or not? Hmm. That's when I go into I use the tools that are provided on a lot of the brokerage apps that I use, and I check the price to earnings ratio, the price to sales ratio. Like I've basically taught myself how to do a company evaluation from a glance, and just based off of what I see at a glance, like I don't go in a deep dive as to
Can
cash
you
on
talk
hand and
Can
things
you
of that
talk
nature.
a little bit more about like the PE ratio of a particular investment versus the industry? Not specifically, but just, in general of what you're saying you look at. What are you looking for there?
That's exactly what I'm looking at. I look at the average industry PE ratio of that
Mhm.
particular company and compare it to where the company actually is. Now, if it's slightly below what the industry is, then I look at that company as being slightly undervalued and I will assess whether I want to invest into that company or not. And then I ask myself, if this company was to fall 20%, how would I feel? If this company was to fall 30%, how would I feel? Would I be eager to buy more? If this company was to drop 50%, how would I feel? Would I be ready to go and sell the neighbor's dogs to buy more of this company? If all of these boxes check off, that's where I know how much I'm willing to invest into this company for the long term. Like, for example, if Apple was to fall 60%, I would be okay with it. I would be looking to sell the neighbor's dog because I don't have a dog to go and buy more Apple.
Mhm.
If a company like Palantir was to fall 60%, I probably would be looking to sell it. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't believe in that company as much as I would believe in an Apple or a Microsoft or something like that. So
Okay.
that's how I go about doing that. Once I determine, is this company worth buying, how much am I willing to look at this company being read in my portfolio?
Okay. So also in line with what you're saying, you can take a look at the forward PE to see, in the next year or years to come where the projection is of where that company could be on the move towards. So to see if you're really getting in at buying in on a company that is currently might be undervalued, and
Hmm.
but in the future is on track to be in line with the industry. So yeah, those are um, different
But I
things.
must say, even if you haven't made it that far yet as to learning how to evaluate a company and you don't want to trust anyone else's judgment but your own, then that's when you start asking yourself the same questions that I just ran off. If this drops 20%, how would I feel? If this drops 50%, how would I feel? If this drops 70% in a year, how would I feel? Would I be willing to load the boat and buy more of it? And how long has the company been around, and how well do I know this company, and things of that nature. Those are all questions that I ask myself even before I learned how to actually evaluate a company and read the balance sheet and things of that nature. And before I learned what a PE ratio, like how would I feel if this company was to drop 20% in a year? How would I feel? I ask myself questions like that.
Hmm.
Because the last thing I want to do is to get into something and I'm down 20%. I'm like, I should just let this go. I should trade this for another company or something like that. That's the last thing I want to. I don't want to be at that crossroads.
Yeah, and price is not just about feelings. If it's a long term, permanent position in his portfolio, that's one thing. But like what did you use as an example of something that you would not be holding if it dropped a certain amount? Was it Palantir? What did you use?
Palantir.
Palantir. Um, so would you have your stop loss on there, Press?
Well, in my
Or it's
long-term
not that extreme?
portfolios, I don't stop losses don't exist in my long-term portfolios. Now,
Okay.
the only time I use a stop loss is when I'm actively trading. Now, investments, I don't have any stop losses on any of my investments.
Because in your portfolio, it wouldn't make it to investment status without you have been done doing the work already.
Right, right.
So for others,
Even the companies that are on level 5 of my pyramid, where I only have
are,
1%,
mhm.
some of those companies are not profitable just yet. But I believe in their business model. Me personally, I believe in the future growth of this company. I believe that one day this company is going to be one of the ones that's been around for a while, tried and true. So that's why I allocate so less compared to what I will allocate to a company that's profitable, that's been around for years, that pays a dividend and things of that nature. That's where allocation comes into play at. Like, do I want to put $1,000 into this company and it drops 60%? Would I be willing to put another $1,000 into it or something like that? I ask myself these questions.
um, so for those of you who are not at the stage where Prez and I are with pretty much everything in our portfolio being a true investment. If you're indecisive about something and not sure if you want to hold it, if it drops by a certain percentage, make sure that you realize and are in tune with the availability of the capabilities that your app, that your brokerage has for you to use. So you don't have to go down with the ship with your investment. If it drops by a certain percentage, dollar amount, whatever you specify, you can let it go and not have to be here for years hoping that it comes back up and it doesn't. So we've accidentally diamond handed some things in our days.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Does everyone out there know what diamond handing means? um, Thank you, Miss V, for being a member. Miss V was my very first member, and I was her very first member. I didn't know it, but she brung that up the other day.
That diamond hand is a road. That diamond hand road is a road I do not want to drive down. ever
Mhm.
again. The only thing that I'm trying to diamond hand is VTI.
Most definitely. Peachy, I was talking to you before. I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but I know you were saying you didn't want to have to type a bunch of stuff. So let me know if you want to chat offline. All right. Peachy is my newest channel member.
Neo want to know what I diamond handed. Everything in the EV sector. Let's put it that way. Pick one.
Ain't no shame
Except
in
everything except for Neo. I never invested in the Neo.
you never well, I did. I
I
did.
traded it. I traded it. I bought a few shares when I first got into the market, but that was more so like a trade. I bought it at like 20 something dollars and I sold it at like 32. But it was like only a couple shares. I was using the um the bonus stocks that they give you when you first open up your account. I immediately sold those and I started buying what I was hearing about on YouTube. I'm not even gonna lie. I was playing
Okay.
Follow the Leader. I was seeing videos about Neo going to $35. This is going to $40 next year. And this was at the peak of the previous bull market. So they was giving out their price ranges, and I was just looking at the chart like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it when it get here, and I'm gonna sell it when it get here. Yeah, but Neo was one of the ones that I didn't diamond hand, but Lucid, you can count Lucid in there. You can count Charge Point in there. You can count
Charge point.
EVgo, Nikola. It was quite a few of them.
Okay.
Plug Power, and I don't even think that's an EV company. I think that's more of a renewable energy company. But I saw Plug Power, and I looked at the pictures that I saw on the internet. I was like, oh yeah, they plugging it in. Let me EV is the next big thing. Let me put all my money into this. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Give me a second, press. Trell, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Are you on IG, Trell? Let me know. Um, what is diamond handing? Peachy, diamond handing is when you invest into something without a plan and you just no with the plan and intention that you hold on to it no matter what. Like you will hold on to it if it goes to $1. Um, but that is not something that we do on a regular. That's something that I don't do anymore. The things that it's happened to me on, it was unintentional. I don't diamond hand. I'm not a what do you call it? Like a what do I say? I'm not a soldier. What am I?
Degenerate.
No, what?
Degenerate.
What? Well, you're
That's what they
getting shady.
call them, degenerates.
No, you're getting shady with me today, Prez. You know, like the, like in the army, you know what I'm trying to say. When you are, like the AMC apes,
Yeah.
or
Oh, okay, okay. I
or
understand what you're saying
you,
now.
a degenerate.
The XRP army,
Yes,
the
I,
Shiba
I am.
Inu army,
I
and
am not in anybody's anything. I am an investor. I am here to make money, and that's all that matters. Press, you're calling me a degenerate?
no, no, no. I wasn't calling you a degenerate. That's what they say. The diamond hand crowd is. They call them degenerates. They say I'm about to
Oh
take a degenerate type
my!
of a trade, a YOLO type of trade.
I know, I know,
I
Press. I
wasn't
know.
calling you a degenerate. Now I've done some degenerate things in this market. But yeah, you do have a lot of I call them stock market gangs. and for example, you got the AMC apes and you have the GME apes. Now, when I used to read the comments on a lot of these investment platforms, they'll be in the comment thread beefing with each other, being disrespectful towards each other. You got both of y'all apes, but y'all don't even like each other. Or the Sheep army don't like the Doge army, and the XRP army taking shots at this. It's crazy. It's crazy. You got stock
But
market gangs, y'all.
yes, and I'm not in any of them. I
Nope.
will. I will. Yeah. My goal is to make money. That's it. End of story. If it ain't working, it's going to get cut from the portfolio. I don't have to hold on to AMC to the moon and the this and the that. No, no,
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that one too. I'm
I don't
guilty.
do that.
I am guilty. Do I still hold it? Hell no.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
I finally let go once they no they did a spinoff. I'm talking about AMC now. They did a spinoff. They had the APE shares, and soon as they did the spinoff, I sold those because all of those were in profit, and I just basically watched this particular position just bleed and
Uh-huh.
bleed and bleed.
Uh-huh.
And then they announced that they was doing a reverse stock split. Oh, now they want to put everything back together. So I say, you know what? I'm cutting my losses. I'm cutting my losses now. I'm gonna take this cash and I'm gonna redeploy it somewhere more safer. And I'm done with this. I'm done with these armies. I'm done with these clicks and things like that. Like I did enough of that when I was in the street. You understand what I'm saying? I'd be damned if I come into the investing world and be a gangster here too. So nah, not for me.
What stocks do you make your short trades? Um, I haven't been, I know, Prez, I know you picked up some shares last week for a swing trade. I haven't really been trading stocks I haven't done a trade on stocks in a few months. I've done options trades. Anything you want to share on a stock trade that you did?
I primarily trade options on ticker symbol SPY and QQQ.
Hmm.
Those are my primary day trades. Now, sometimes I will, if it makes sense, I will pick up a few shares of a company for a swing trade. Just the other day, I picked up a few shares of SoundHound. I bought 50 shares at about $4.50 each, and I've since raised my stop loss to about $4.75. So I'm currently in profit, and the current price of SoundHound now is $4.86. So if it was to fall down to $4.75, I'm automatically kicked out in profit. So I've already basically won that trade.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the last thing that I might have traded like that might have been some Doge. But yeah, I haven't not an
Oh my God.
what who
Why not? They were set tripping on crypto, throwing up their gang signs like, and he put all these different signs in the chat. Yeah, yeah, basically. He's like, yeah, we XRP.
but yeah, I mean, I'm with Prez on the options with the SPY, but I think I'm more willing than Prez to um, do
Trade options on individual stocks.
Tesla and some individual stocks. I've had some ease and success with them, so I don't always rely on just the SPY. But
And it's crazy how the power of influence work because if you notice lately, I've been looking at Tesla like, yeah, I'm looking at Tesla today, y'all.
mhm,
So yeah, the power of influence is something else, and that's something I don't normally trade options on individual stocks very rarely, and it has to really make sense to me only because of my own personal risk tolerance and I trade what I'm used to trading. I don't like to try to reinvent the wheel or try new strategies and things like that. If I do, I'll more than likely be paper trading and things like that because I don't really like to lose. Although you will lose sometimes. That's like rule number one. You will lose sometimes, but
yeah,
prayers don't like to lose. So I try to stick with what I'm comfortable with and what I know best. Are your
one,
criteria for swing trading the same for options and investing? Investing, that's a totally different story right there. Now, swing trading, I base that off of a potential news catalyst, or I'm just going strictly off of the charts when it comes to trading. Now, options, I'm going off of momentum and price action, as well as news catalysts as well. It's a number of things that I factor in. Now, investing, that's a different story. Do we have
no, no,
newsletters? No.
Anthony, no, Anthony. Anthony has a newsletter. We do not have a newsletter.
I'm live so often, I really don't have the time to even put a newsletter together. I just turn my camera on and start streaming and just start talking. Even if I find a news headline on my phone while I'm streaming, I'll read that off to my audience.
I I don't know that I ever will have one, but it's something to think about. I have never taken a look at Anthony's, but I know he does have one.
Yes, the power of influence is dangerous. That's what the book Trading in the Zone helps with. You're 100% right. I do have that book. I wish I had it right now so I could put it up on the screen. But I do actually have that a physical copy of that book, and it's very informative. So for those who are looking to get into trading and you need help with your mindset, because it's more mindset than actually knowing how to read charts and things like that, because you are your own worst enemy when you're looking at them charts and you got money in your account and you're making decisions. You can be your own worst enemy. Like the chart can look good all day, but if you put too much into it, into that particular trade, you over leverage or you're over trading, or you lose a trade and you decide, oh, I got to get my money back. I got to get my lick back before I walk away from this computer screen. Then you could potentially be your own worst enemy. I'm living proof of that. I've made gains and then gave them all back and then some, being greedy. And I've taken small losses and revenge traded trying to get those small losses back and end up losing double the amount than what I lost the first time. So definitely pick up that book and read it. Another good book is How to Day Trade for a Living by Andrew Aziz.
Mhm. Why not was asking if we talked about Disney a while back. I didn't put up his old comment.
No, we didn't talk about Disney at all today.
I did, excuse me. I did a video on Disney a few days ago. I I think Disney's about 3% of my portfolio. My average is still over $100. I'm not inclined to average down or make that any larger of a position in my portfolio. But for those who don't have it in your portfolio and want to hold on to it long term, it was really, at a price where you could get it at a steal, but you might be holding on to it for years before it gets back to the 170s or, above 150 that I'm dreaming of it returning to. 'Cause I think the first time when I invested into Disney, it was up at that price point, about 170. But it's many, I've caught it many times in the 80s. So, any thoughts on Disney? They actually had their first period of being profitable when it comes to their streaming services.
Although I don't currently own Disney, I still believe in the company. As if I was invested in the Disney, because I've been keeping track of them. I've been listening to their earnings reports and their forward guidance and things like that. Like as far as the actual amusement parks, they'll eventually recover as the economy gets better, in my opinion. Now, as far as the streaming side of things, like their streaming is the next big thing. Is already a big thing, and they got their hands tied into it. They own Hulu, Disney Plus, as well as ESPN Plus. So the more people are starting to cut their cable cords and branch off into streaming instead of having your traditional cable service, which I'm noticing a lot of people are starting to do more of now, because cable bills are high compared to, you can just get all of the streaming services and just do away with cable and just get
Mhm,
a converter box for your local news. So a lot of people are starting to branch off away from traditional cable service and going more into streaming. So that could be a plus for Disney.
mhm.
I see a comment up here. Understood. I struggle with figuring a strategy is why I was asking. Now, as far as the actual strategy, I watch different influencers that trade live on YouTube, and I pretty much looked for one that was comfortable for me, that I felt comfortable with. How easy did they explain this strategy to me? um, could I see myself implementing this strategy? For example, like the breakout strategy, how you see me do live on TV. I learned that from another influencer, and it works for me. I tried it out paper trading. I tried it out with real money, and it works for me. It's easy for me to explain it to other people, because it probably was easy for the person who showed it to me to explain it to me. So I try to stick with the easiest strategy that I could find that worked for me.
Okay. Looks like there's near the bottom. Yes.
The hardest thing to do after losing money in a trade is sitting on your hands and doing nothing. I totally agree. I totally agree. You just gotta be your own police. You just gotta sit on your hands.
Yes, it definitely can be discouraging, but that's why I'm so glad that I am in tune and quick with putting on my stop loss and making my plan quickly so that I can't never say that I got in over my head because I knew what I was willing to lose if things did not go my way. So,
Shoot, I've lost live on stream. Like,
mhm,
imagine how I feel. But I had to condition myself on how to lose
mhm,
because the last thing I want to do is ever blow another account again. Like I've blown two accounts learning how to trade. So the last thing I want to do is especially do it on air, live on air. Like, no, I gotta make sure I have a proper position size, and I have to predetermine how much I'm willing to lose before I even get into the trade. Once I've
mhm.
determined that, okay, I got $100 in this trade. I'm only willing to lose 10, y'all. If I lose that $10, I already know it comes with the game. I already predetermined that in my brain before I even click the buy button.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on this or do you want to save this for tomorrow?
Yes, it is. It is. That is. He's 100% right. Correct on that question. That's where I
Okay.
learned it from, and it's been working for me for long time. A long time now.
So how would you put it that you set up a gamble zone and wait until you're completely in or
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. Now
So
sometimes I will
but
deviate
you're
from it.
saying it, you're saying exactly, and neither one of us have really said what he asked us to say.
Shannon Thomas says, "What do you mean? You've lost accounts trading?" Yeah. 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 You start, for example, you start with $1,000, you grow up to $2,000. Next thing you know, it's $189 in a few days' time. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's real. It can happen. Oh, maybe I should average down a little
Yeah.
bit, or maybe I should just take my stop loss off, and so I don't get kicked out because I feel as though it's gonna turn around.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, you down 50, 60%. Like, I don't want to let this go. It still might turn around. And what if it never does? Next thing you
Okay.
know, it's almost 3:30.
Okay, so you have a question, a request from Fast Eddie for tomorrow morning on Intel. If you could maybe jot that down if you're going to be doing a morning and afternoon show. Do you
Is
see that?
Intel low enough to, let me write that down, Intel. I would have to really sit down and study the chart
Okay.
because I haven't looked at any charts this weekend. I'm not even going.
So yeah. So why not? I think what you're asking is just setting up the zone and then waiting until you have an entire candle and wick outside above or below that zone to know if you want to go with
Hmm.
a entering into a call or a put. So
Hmm.
hello there, Stock Talk David.
Stock Talk David, welcome in. That's right, you are late.
Yes, we're going way over time because I was thinking we was gonna do like 40 minutes today. Um, but I don't know. Let's um let's take a station break, Prez. Let's take a good station break because I think we've been talking and engaging with the chat and everything, but let's give a little breakdown as to what goes on our channels and all that good stuff. How was your I watched your premiere. I was driving the car yesterday. So um what do you want to share, Prez?
As far as my channel is concerned, I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hang on. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And lately I've been doing pop-ups at on those same days at 3:15 p.m. It's not a definite schedule just yet because I don't know what I'm going to be doing months from now. So I don't want to fully commit to my 3:15 show. But lately I've been doing it for a little while now. And every Saturday at 2 p.m., I premiere my $5 a day portfolio that I designed for my YouTube channel, where I'm showing investors what it looks like week to week with just investing $5 a day. Tomorrow starts week 30.
Okay. Okay. For me, this week, I'm coming up on week 100 on VCI.
Wow,
Yep.
that's a
Yep. I
nice
think,
streak. I'm trying to
yeah.
catch up. I don't think I ever will.
You're gonna get to 100. If you're at 30, you're gonna keep going till you get to the 100, right, Press?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep
Okay,
going.
okay. Shout out to my
I just
member,
don't think
Jilly.
I'll ever catch up with you, though. I'll never catch up.
Well, if I started ahead of you on this
I know, that's what
particular
I'm saying.
okay.
You know what I mean.
You're going to stay consistent and have the same amount of weeks that
Mm-hmm.
I have achieved. But yeah, there's never a catch up when it comes to something like that. All right. Shout out to member Jaleel. My, I don't know exactly how long it's been, but yeah, I have some members that are over 1 month now. Okay. So this might be the last question of the day.
Do you wait for the entire candle, including the wicks, to be completely above or below the gamble zone? Sometimes I see Keenan going earlier. Sometimes I'll go in earlier too. It depends on the volume and my overall gut feeling. Like, this looks like it's gonna rip. That's when I take a gamble, but I when I do something like that and I don't wait for full confirmation, I'll use a lot less than what I normally would getting into that trade. Like you hear him say, I'm playing it hot, so I'm not risking a lot. I do pretty much the same thing. I'll go in with half the size that I normally would in my regular trade if I were to wait for a confirmation, or sometimes I'll even wait for it to confirm and then come back down to support the form of resistance, and I'll jump in there what is called the retest. Sometimes I'll wait for the retest and I'll be successful that way as well. Versus I'm jumping in early and it's a false breakout and you see it creep right back down into the gamble zone. Next thing you know, you're stopped out early and then it runs on you.
Okay. Okay. So, Prez, what do you think? Do you think that we should we'll be talking about saving, we'll be talking about our emergency funds, and we'll be talking about options. Do you think our topics get a bit too mixed for for investors that are at different stages, or what do you think?
Sometimes I feel as though you have to cater to the different viewers that are currently watching. Like some
Mhm.
days we may have a whole lot of beginners that are asking beginner questions, and then other days we may have people in the chat that's a little bit more experienced and they just looking for a little bit more insight on their own personal thought process. So I don't
Yeah.
see any problem with bouncing around from catering to beginners to catering to someone that's a little more advanced.
Okay.
It's
It
no
is what
problem
it
for
is.
me.
All right. So yeah, so Prez all the times you can catch him. You can catch us together here 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. And yes, his other time frames are Eastern Standard Time for 9 a.m., 3:15 during the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. For me, you just have to put that notification bell on and
Me too. Me too. Cause I've been thinking about doing some pop-ups lately, and I'd be like, I don't think nobody gonna show up because they don't have a notification bell on. But just yesterday, I was thinking about going live yesterday. I didn't really know what I was gonna talk about, but I love to interact with my audience. I love when they ask me questions. And I always say, even if I don't know the answer to it, we can sit there on the stream live and find out together. Like, I don't mind us learning something new together because I feel we all should be hands on in our personal when it comes to our personal finance. We should not be sitting back waiting for this politician to come save us or that politician to come save us. At the end of the day, the two wings of the same bird, two wings of the same bird, and no one is coming to save you. You have to be your own savior at the end of the day.
yes, yes, Yvette. He is from Baltimore.
Yes, yeah.
Hi,
What made you
Kevin.
say that? Is it my two?
Thanks for sharing this out, Kevin. Um, I was going to say something, then I forgot. Um, but I think that's it for today. And guys, if you are ready to open an investment account, our links are always in our description of our videos. Please make sure to support the channel by using our links if you're ready to open an account at Moomoo or Weeble, for example. We'd appreciate it, and we'll both get free stock, and you'll be supporting the channel, as I said.
Just keep watching, even if you're not really paying attention. Just having these types of videos playing in the background will eventually encourage you to get in the game. I totally 150% agree with that because I used to be at work on a forklift, a high reach forklift. For those who don't know, I used to work for Arm& Hammer Company in the distribution center driving high reach forklift. Cat litter and laundry detergent, but I used to sneak an earbud in my ear and I would be listening to different content creators where they were talking about Bitcoin, but I eventually got curious enough to open up a Coinbase account and starting to invest. And then next thing you know, I started branching off into stocks and things of that nature. I wish I would have heard stock videos first, but it was Bitcoin. Full disclosure, Bitcoin was my first investment. Not saying that that should be yours. I wouldn't advise that because if say Bitcoin is 60K right now, if it was to drop down to 25K, you might sell all of your Bitcoin, and I don't want you to do that.
All right. Well, I think that was a good show. Is there anything that was supposed to be a part of the show that we have not touched on, Prez? Because we still have people in the house. If you want to continue on anything that was supposed to be a part of the show that I have not been driving us towards.
What'd she say? No, I do pay attention. That's why I bought some Nvidia. I ended up selling it in Alphabet because of them.
She bought and Peachy sold her Nvidia. I was the
Why?
when Peachy told me she sold her Nvidia, it was like every couple of days it would just cross my mind, and I would
I
just
wish I had my buttons available. I might have to put a go live after this just so I can hit the buttons on you. What? Cool. I've been there though. I've been there. I've been there. So I can't down you for it.
she had
I've been there.
I just but ready to wrap it up for the day?
Sure.
Success. Are you
Oh,
ready or
okay.
not?
She said
I'm
she
not
was
supposed.
broke. She said
Hmm?
she was. I've been there as
Hmm.
well. I've been there as
Hmm.
well. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It sucks. Because as soon as you sell it, you hear about the market ripping, and you like, or you'll see a content creator like, I've been investing into this company for. I think I saw one of Lisa's videos when the last time I had to go through that situation, and she said, I've been doing this $10 a day challenge for this amount of time. I actually started that same challenge the same time she did, and I wasn't
Hmm.
able to keep up with it. I was buying realty income, she was buying BTI, and we were having weekly meetings and things like that in Keenan Grace's Discord. And I'm like, man, like,
Oh, you used to come to the voice chat?
yeah. I used to be in the
Oh,
voice chats. I was driving Uber at the time. I used to be in the voice chats and all of that. Yeah.
Peachy, I don't mean to make you feel bad. I was just like, you sold the Nvidia. I was a little.
I've
I
been
was.
there.
I was very surprised the day you said that. I was just very surprised.
I've been there. That's why I try to preach. If you have like high interest debt and things like that, try your best to get it out the way before you even start investing. But don't keep putting investing off because of that debt. Like, don't let that debt be your ball and chain. Like, uh, I got this debt, but I need to be investing too. You gotta try to find a way to do both. Like, I once I this is something that I did. I went through all of my debt and I realized that I didn't have a lot of high interest debt. So I said, you know what? They can wait. I'm getting closer and closer. I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting closer and closer to retirement age. I need to start putting something away. I already knew majority of my 20s and into my 30s, I was in and out of prison. I was in the street, making bad decisions with my life. So I'm playing catch up at the end of the day, me personally. So I got to do what's best for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of that debt is just gonna have to get written off, and I know how to dispute credit reports and things like that. I'll just be waiting 7 years on some of this debt, and other debt I'll just be putting it into dispute. I know how to clean up my own credit. I've done the research and I've learned how to do that. So some things you gotta prioritize at the end of the day, especially when you get to your 40s and you don't want to work until your 70s. You got to start taking action now. Now is the time, especially if you're in your 40s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Selena, I dropped Prez's link for you in the chat, so you can follow him there. If you didn't catch it there, it'll be. I usually try to tag Prez in the description for anybody who's not subscribed to his channel. But it's what is your channel name, Prez?
Prez the investor.
Prez the investor.
How you don't know my?
Prez, sometimes you be switching it up because it's investing with Prez on some of your platforms. So I rather you say it before I twist it up the wrong way instead. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're investing with Prez and sometimes you're Prez the investor, depending on the TikTok and Instagram, and
Right, right.
some is the other way around.
Yvette says I have a powerful testimony. That's awesome. It's a lot deeper than that. One day I'll really sit down and really tell you the down parts of my life and how I got there and how I persevered out of it and all of that. But I'm still a work in progress at the end of the day. Let me give me like another year and I'll be. Everybody loves a good comeback story at the end of the day. But I'm a fighter, and I'm currently at the stage of my life where I have a plan, and no matter what, I have to stick to that plan. And I just decided to bring my audience along on this journey with me.
Yep, same here. I'm just here trying to show you guys what I am doing to try to invest and stay out of the debt and just show my daughter, invest on her behalf, try to teach her what as I learn and as I do better and as I know better. I want her to be along with me in understanding and being on a path where she can do better also. So she doesn't have to go through all the struggles that I've had to um with everything, just all of the struggles. I hope she listens to some of her stories that her mother shares with her and doesn't have to go through them all. All right. But I think we are ready to wrap it up. We Prez, you and I by ourselves, we never go this long. If Robert was up here with us, now that would be another thing. Because me, you, and Robert, I think we could go for 3 hours. But
I do want to add something else to that. Now, I'm sure we may have a few people in the chat that you know, older than 45, and if you had a similar story to mine, to where as though you didn't work majority of your life, you was in between jobs majority of your life. If you have children, grandchildren, it's not too late for them. You may feel as though it's too late for you because of your current age and your prior work history. But if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, it's generational wealth at the end of the day. You can easily set up accounts for them and start investing for them. If you feel as though you don't have much time left on this earth, to where as though you'll achieve millionaire status, you can start for them. You can teach their parents. If you're not the parent, you can teach their parents how to invest for them and continue to pick up where you left off. They can even open up accounts on their own. So that way, your future offspring, your future generation won't have to work nearly as hard as you had to. That's the goal that I'm at right now. I don't want my children to have to go to plasma spots just so they can be able to invest regularly. I don't want them to have to stand on the corner or work off their phone to try to make illegal money or something like that. I don't want to have to deal with an employer that's treating them different. Although they're the best worker on the squad, they're treating them different just because their skin looks like mine. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want them to have to go through that. So I'm making sure that I'm going to be here to teach them how to pick up where I leave off at, as far as setting the path up for them for the future. because I feel as though I done effed up my life through all of my 20s, my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s, and I really don't have much to show for when I'm ready to hit 60 years old. So that's why I do what I do.
Well, we're doing our best to get ourselves as prepared as possible. Like I say all the time, when you know better, you do better. And now that we have this knowledge, we're not going to sit on the sidelines. We are going to be in here every day. If we could do it 7 days, we would be up here trying to trade 7 days a week, right, Press?
Yeah, yeah. I get sad on the weekends. I told you, I
I
get sad on
know.
the weekends. I be
I,
looking out the window like,
yeah, the place
I'll
that
look
I.
at the chart, I'll look at the SPY chart like, why you not
Mhm.
moving? And I'll look at Bitcoin like, you really not moving. So I can't do nothing with
Yeah.
you. So
I'm gonna be waiting for Keenan's sniper list tonight. Probably looking out for it every hour when it gets a little later on, so I can see
yeah,
what's on there. Yeah, because I'm ready. I'm ready for a new week. I'm ready for a new week, and I'm ready to trade. And um, yes, definitely good to leave a legacy for the children.
you have
Um,
to not just leave it to them, teach them how to, teach them how to pass the torch, teach them how to
mhm.
carry the torch. It's more than just leaving it for them. You got to show them what to do with it once you're gone, because the last thing you want is for you to potentially leave your child $1 million worth of stocks and dividends and things of that nature. And the first thing they do
Run
is
through
they
it.
start going out trying to impress people that they don't even like and they don't even like them. Next thing you know, they're right back in the boat that you were in, that you worked so hard to dig them out of. You understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's
Hmm.
always good to instill in them the knowledge as well as invest for them as well.
Hmm. All right. Well, I've been saying this for 15 minutes now, but let's wrap it up for this week. Thanks for tuning in. And we will be back again together on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But as always, you can check us out and find us throughout the week, recorded videos, live streams on Prez's side. And we will see you again soon. If you have
Hold up, I
any,
just got one more thing. No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
I press. You can go on and keep going if you want. Um,
I just felt like being bad. Because you made the comment I'm always on my best behavior on Sunday. So I said, yeah, let me be Monday prayers real quick.
hogwash press on Sunday. That's who we get. Um, but yeah, okay. So we gave all of our but yes, that's it. Press
Oh
close.
no, not you. Come on now.
What?
It'll
Sold
be
of
okay.
Nvidia?
It'll be okay. Just buy it again. Buy it again. You may not have that same low price that you had before, but just understand that.
They
And
might have a lower price depending on when they got it because I mean, I'm am I still 103 or did I get it below 100? Well, depends. Depends.
I have a very, very,
I'm not.
very small SoFi account. And up until they stopped doing it, where you can log in every day and you would get the 10 points, I used to trade those points in for stocks. I have like, at one point in time, it was like $1 worth of Nvidia that I had accumulated, and the average cost was like 300 and something dollars. It's like the average cost now since they done the stock split is like 30 cents.
Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with investing on like SoFi or Cash
SoFi,
App
yeah, yeah.
or any or Stash or there's so many ways that
They
I'm
would
I
have like a 7 day streak login bonus, and you would get 10 cents every 7 days. And I would trade that. I would cash. I would trade them. They call them diamonds. I would
mhm,
trade those 10 diamonds in for $10 worth of stock, and they let you pick your stock. And I was building a portfolio like that, just logging in to the app every day. I wasn't
mhm,
depositing any money that from out of my bank account because I had so many other investment accounts. But I was just logging in. Let me get this free money. Log in. I do the same thing with my crypto.com account. I do the same thing with my Moomoo account. You accumulate so many amount of points at a certain amount of time. You can cash that in for a $5 voucher or $3 voucher or something like that.
really?
It's
Maybe
always
I
it's always little ways to come up with little pennies to invest.
maybe I need to open my eyes a little more to that because I don't be
Them
I
pennies
haven't
add
gotten
up.
anything letter
Them pennies
lately on
add
that.
up. I also use gaming apps that pay me for playing the games, and I use that money to invest. I
No,
come
I
up with
haven't
all
done that.
kind of ways to have money to invest. Is
Hmm.
That's why I always say it's no excuse. It's no excuse. If someone want to know what I be doing to come up with a few little pennies so I'm able to invest more, ask questions. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
All right. Sounds good. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or topics that you want us to cover for future lives or videos, feel free to drop those in the comments and we will see you again next week. Thanks for tuning in.
If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die.